What's up, my fruitful farmers? We are in a new month, and throughout my time doing the OCD challenge, I felt very strongly that God was pushing me and telling me to talk about love, dating, and relationships. If you've been following me since kicking it with the girls, then you understand that we will always talk about sex, dating, and relationships. That was one of our things, right? Sex, dating and relationships. We talking sex. I miss you, Destiny. I love you, girl. Um, but we would talk about it all the time. But if y'all been again following me and following my growth, my journey, then you understand that back then I was making a little sense, but I wasn't making all the sense. Okay, I definitely wasn't as spiritually sound as I am now, and so. Um, I feel God is asking me to talk about it, and I really have shied away from speaking on um, dating, relationships, and love just because there's 1,001 other people talking about it through their podcast or on their daily content, and some of it be good, and then a lot of it be bad. And the fact is that these people have people that listen to them, and they think this is how relationships, love, and dating is actually supposed to go, and it doesn't work like that. And I'm not saying I'm a guru on these topics at all. The relationships you've had, whether it's platonic or intimate, these are all experiences that develop and help you grow and mature. Hopefully, for most of us, it should do that. But I still know people who go through these relationships and they still feel like there was nothing wrong. I'm perfect. It wasn't my fault. It ain't my fault. Did I do that? It's not your fault. So if that's your attitude, then yeah, you don't want to listen to what I got to say in the next coming months. But we are going to start with self love. Regardless of what we talk about, it all comes back to you. How you treat you, what boundaries, morals, values you uphold for yourself. And it took me a long time for me to really figure out who Davina is. I've always had a sense of who I was, but when you do get into relationships, it's a mirror and it reflects everything that is a little troublesome in you, right? It shows you your true. I see your true. I don't know why all these songs coming in my head, but I see your true colors shining through. Yeah. But yeah, relationships do that. It will reflect your true colors. Let me just define self love real quick. Self love is the practice of valuing and appreciating yourself. It involves accepting and caring for yourself, recognizing your worth, and treating yourself with kindness and respect. Valuing and appreciating yourself. I didn't have that when I was young. Coming from a small town, movies was my outlet. Like I was a dreamer. My dad would always sing to me, "You're living in a dream world." Da-da. Like he would always say that to me and I was in a dream world because I got a lot of who I should be as a woman and you know, oh, that's how a man is and that's how I need to be how I need to treat these guys. Like I was doing how to think like a man, act like a lady, how to think like a man before it even came out. I was years before my time. All right, because I was a tomboy, and so I was a homie to a lot of dudes, and so I was privy to a lot of their conversation, so I knew what they was talking about when it comes to the females. I knew what they were saying, and so I would take that and then take stuff that I would see from like movies and I would be like, okay, this is how I'm maneuvering when it comes to relationships, love, and everything like that. Like I just remember dating dudes and I was like, I don't care if you got somebody else. I really don't. As long as I'm number one, that's all I care about. I didn't care about them treating me well. I didn't care about them having morals and values and stuff like that. I said, as long as I'm number one in your book, I care less what you're doing with anybody, okay? Because I know they can't top me. That's the type of attitude I had. And then again, I've discussed this. Like I was sexually abused, um, and that played a part into how I saw my worth and my value. Once your innocence has been taken away from you, when you don't have a choice, when you feel like your voice was taken away due to being SA, sexually assaulted, um, then yeah, it diminishes how you feel, like how worthy you feel, how valuable you feel. And so it took me a long time. And I tried so hard to find my value in these different things, whether it been basketball, dancing, journalism, wanting to be a screenwriter, all these things, because again, my value and my self worth was diminishing every single time when somebody was violating me. When you don't know who you are and know your self worth, your value, and everything like that, then you would try to find value in the thing you do. That's why so many people with these titles, doctors, I'm a lawyer, I'm a pastor, and all this stuff. That's why they be so heavy on that pastor, so heavy they hold so much weight on that doctor and everything like that because they don't know nothing else outside of that. That's all you is. You more than that. And so that's why identity is so big to me, and I can speak to that a lot. But that all falls into self-love. Recognizing my worth. It wasn't until I was turning 30 that I declared, okay, my worth. After my divorce, I was at a low point. I had to literally rebuild, like build myself up from the bottom up. And I really started doing the work on myself, went to therapy, and really discovered knowing what God says about me. God says I'm worthy of unconditional love. God says I am forgiven by his grace. God says I am made in his image. God says I have a purpose and a calling over my life. God says I am a kingdom citizen. God says I have dominion. That's what God says about me and what he says about you. And the understanding that you don't need to change or be perfect. I think I've always had the attitude of don't change. I don't need to do all the extra. I don't need the eyelashes. I don't need the wigs. I don't need the makeup. I don't need to fix this tooth. I don't need to do none of this stuff. I just like to be real realistic. Like I don't like to put out anything that is a front, and me coming on here full face, dolled up all the time, that ain't me. That's and I feel like I've always had that. Like I've always accepted myself in that way. Like where I'm not changing. Um I'm not changing like my appearance, like that part. But I have changed in relationships. Many years when I was in relationships, I would be all involved in everything of that man. Nobody's perfect, so like to try to reach for perfection is just unrealistic. But you do want to feel like you're perfect to the person that you're with. And so of course you're going to do anything and everything. This your favorite meal? All right, I'm in that kitchen. Oh, this is what you like? This is your fantasy? Okay, I'm going to make that happen. Like easy. Like what are we talking about here? Like anything my man said he wanted, you gonna get it. But that's how I would change myself. Like I got him by being me, and yet I wanted to change and be the image in his mind. I mean, I could talk about this all day, which that's only self love. I just all I did was give y'all the definition, but but self love is where we're starting.